A black delivery driver walks into a Korean Mafia penthouse. They laugh at her wet shoes. 60 seconds later, she speaks a language that stops their hearts. This is the story of Imani, a woman invisible to the world until the moment she revealed she was carrying two secrets: a dead grandmother's final wish and the child of the most dangerous man in Seattle. By the end, you'll see how one package delivery destroyed a hierarchy, exposed a traitor, and bound two people together across blood, language, and destiny. Stay with me. The rain hit Seattle like God was angry. Imani stood outside the Sky Vault, 50th floor, staring at gold doors that cost more than her yearly salary. Her FedEx jacket clung to her shoulders, bright red and soaked through. Water dripped from her braids onto the envelope in her hands. Signature required. On last delivery of a double shift. Her stomach rolled. Again. Third time today. She pressed the buzzer. The doors opened to a world she didn't belong in. Chandelier light spilled across marble floors so polished she could see her reflection. Distorted, dark-skinned, out of place. The smell hit her first, expensive cologne mixed with roasted galbi and something sharper. Power, the kind you inherit or kill for. Imani stepped inside. Her sneakers squeaked. Someone laughed. "Hey, FedEx girl?" The voice came from a man in a charcoal suit pointing at her feet. His smile was performance, cruelty dressed as humor. "You're dripping on a $50,000 rug," he said. "Are you deaf or just slow?" The table erupted. 8 executives in designer everything, laughing like she was the punchline. A woman in white, beautiful in that effortless, old money way, covered her mouth with manicured fingers. Soo-jin. Her eyes said, "You don't belong here." Imani's grip tightened on the envelope. She'd heard worse, been invisible longer. This was just Tuesday in a city that pretended not to see her. "I have a priority package for Madam Park," Imani said, voice steady despite the nausea climbing her throat. "It requires a signature." Another man gestured at her jacket. "Look at her. Drowned rat." More laughter. Imani focused on breathing, on not throwing up, on getting the signature so she could leave this golden cage and go home to her studio apartment where nobody cared about $50,000 rugs. Then she saw him, Jeju, standing near the head of the table, silent as a blade. White shirt unbuttoned just enough to reveal ink crawling up his throat. Intricate, dark, deliberate. Tattoos wound down his forearms like secrets he wore on his skin. He wasn't laughing. He was watching. His eyes met hers, and something cold slid through Imani's chest. Instinct. The way prey recognizes a predator before it moves. She looked away first. At the head of the table sat the oldest woman Imani had ever seen in a room like this. Nana. Blue hanbok. Silver hair pinned back. Posture like royalty. Everyone around her leaned in, desperate to please. But Nana's face was stone. She slammed her chopsticks down. The sound cracked through the room like thunder. Nana spoke, sharp, guttural, angry. Not English, not the smooth Korean the executives kept using to impress each other. This was different. Rougher, older. "Yogi and Dodo tan bopdo iopseo." The laughter stopped. Soo-jin stood quickly, smile forced. "Sopa," she purred at Jeju. "Nana says the soup is perfect. She welcomes the delivery." Yejun's jaw tightened. The tattoos at his neck seemed to shift with the movement. He didn't believe her. Neither did Imani. Because Imani understood. Not perfectly. She hadn't spoken the dialect in years. But the words hit something deep. Memory. Muscle. No warm rice. No comfort. Jeju dialect. Her mind flashed without permission. a tiny apartment on 23rd Street. A kettle whistling, wrinkled hands pushing a bowl toward her. Eat, Aji. You can't deliver packages on an empty heart. Mrs. Kang, Imani's adopted grandmother. The old Henyo from Jeju Island who'd taught her the dialect like it was a lullaby and a weapon. So they could talk in secret when the world was too hard to say plainly. Mrs. Kang had been dead for 1 week. Nana shouted again, Zara pointing at Yejun with a shaking finger. Eomeong! Gupami, Beisinida! Sujin giggled nervously. She wants more wine. A few executives chuckled, relieved. Imani's phone buzzed, dispatch. She ignored it. Her heartbeat filled her ears. Because Nana hadn't asked for wine. She'd said the soup tasted like betrayal. The room waited. Imani took 1 step forward. No, she said. The single word cut sharper than any scream. Every face turned. Even Yejun shifted, attention sharpening like a predator catching scent. Imani swallowed, forced her voice to hold. She didn't ask for wine, Imani said, eyes locked on Sujin. She said there's no warmth in this house, no comfort, no respect. Silence, the kind that steals oxygen. And she said the soup tastes like betrayal. Sujin's mouth fell open. What are you doing? You're a delivery girl. I'm doing my job, Imani said, lifting the envelope. I need her signature. A man started to rise. Security! Yejun's voice slid out like velvet over a blade. Sit down. It wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. The man obeyed instantly. Imani's stomach tightened, but not from nausea this time, from recognition. She'd heard that voice before. Not here. Not in this palace of marble and chandeliers. But months ago, in a parking lot, on a night when 2 men thought a tired black woman was easy prey. A stranger had stepped from the shadows. White shirt, ink at his throat. Eyes like midnight. Get in. She hadn't seen his face clearly, only felt the heat of him, the way he'd wrapped his coat around her like a claim. The way, later, when the adrenaline faded and the rain softened, she'd made a decision that still haunted her every morning. She woke up nauseous. Imani's fingers trembled around the envelope. Yejun's gaze sharpened, like he'd caught the tremor. Like he felt something too. Nana spoke again, quieter now, dangerous in its calm. Nuguya? Who are you? Imani's throat went tight. Her phone rang. Dispatch again. She fumbled it out, answering by instinct. Yeah, Jamsimanyo, Halmeoni, Imani said without thinking. I'm here. The word Halmeoni came out in Jeju Dialect. The way Mrs. Kang used to say it, grandmother. Nana's head snapped up so fast it looked painful. Her eyes went wide. The executive stared, suddenly aware something bigger than a delivery was unfolding. Imani lowered the phone slowly, realizing what she'd just done. Nana stood. Chairs scraped. Someone gasped. The old woman walked toward Imani, hanbok whispering across marble like a tide coming in. Up close, Nana's face was a map of wars survived. Her gaze held Imani like a grip. You have the tongue of the island? Nana said in Jeju dialect, voice trembling. Who taught you? Imani's eyes stung. Mrs. Kang, she whispered, from 23rd Street. Nana's lips parted like she'd been stabbed by memory. Kang, she breathed. My sister's name. The room went colder. Sujin stepped forward, panicked. Nana, please, she's lying. She's a stranger. Yejun's head turned toward Sujin, slow and lethal. Say one more word, he warned quietly, and you'll regret it. Sujin stopped like she'd hit an invisible wall. Imani looked down at the envelope, suddenly heavier, like it wasn't paper inside, but destiny. That's why I'm here, Imani said, voice shaking. Mrs. Kang passed last week. Before she died, she made me promise to deliver this. She said it belongs to the family. She paused. To the Tiger of Seattle. At the name, several men stiffened. Yejun's eyes narrowed. Imani held the envelope out with both hands. No one moved. Then Yejun stepped forward. Close enough that Imani could smell him. Expensive soap, rain, and something darker beneath. His presence filled the space like a storm. His fingers brushed hers as he took the envelope. When their skin touched, Imani's breath caught. Recognition. Certainty. He felt it too. Before we dive deeper into this story, I need your help. We're on a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers, and every single subscription brings us closer to that goal. If you enjoy stories about complicated love, about people who choose each other despite the odds, please hit that subscribe button. And I'd love to know, where are you listening from? Drop a comment and tell me your city or country. Building this community means everything, and knowing where you all are from makes it even more special. Yejun didn't open the envelope yet. He stared at Imani, eyes hard, searching her face like he was hunting for truth he'd been missing. Nana's hand rose, touched Imani's cheek, gentle, reverent. "Island child," Nana whispered. "If you came from my sister, then you didn't find us by accident." Imani's stomach rolled again. Her free hand drifted unconsciously toward her lower abdomen. Protective. Yejun's gaze dropped to the movement, then snapped back to her face, sharp with suspicion and something dangerously possessive. Outside, thunder cracked over Seattle like a warning. Inside, Yejun's thumb slid over the edge of the envelope, and Imani realized the real danger wasn't the laughing executives, wasn't Soo Jin, wasn't even the Korean Mafia at that table. It was what was about to be revealed. Because if the contents proved Mrs. Kang's words true, then Imani wasn't just a FedEx girl in the wrong room. She was standing in the middle of a family war. And the man holding her package might be the same man who'd already marked her once in the dark. Yejun broke the seal. His expression changed. Just for a second. A flicker of something Imani couldn't read. Then his eyes lifted to hers. "You have no idea what you just brought me," he said softly. "Do you?" Nana didn't wait for Yejun to speak. She stepped past him, past the executives frozen in their chairs, past Soo Jin's horrified face, and stood directly in front of Imani, close enough that Imani could see the silver threading through her hanbok, close enough to count the lines around her eyes. Nana spoke in Jeju Dialect, pure, unfiltered. "Siomwi mal ul hal jul aneon agiga odiseo wazo?" A child who speaks the island tongue. "Where did you come from?" The room held its breath. Imani's throat tightened. Her hands trembled at her sides. She answered in the same dialect, the one Mrs. Kang had whispered to her over soup and secrets for 15 years. 23 beyond gaeseo wasium nida halmeoni kang ajumaga jorul 가르쳐 주셨습니다. "I came from 23rd Street, grandmother. Mrs. Kang taught me." Nana's breath hitched. Her hand rose, slow, trembling, and touched Imani's cheek. The old woman's fingers were cold and soft, like paper worn thin by time. "Siom Saturi," Nana whispered. "Neo nun siom Saturi ro gajosio." You have the island accent. Tears filled Nana's eyes. Imani felt something crack open in her chest. Grief she'd been holding back for 7 days. "Mrs. Kang used to say the island never leaves your tongue," Imani said softly, still in Jeju dialect. "Even when the island leaves you." Nana's hand dropped to Imani's shoulder, gripped it. "Tell me about her," Nana demanded, voice breaking. "Tell me about Kang." Behind them, Sujin tried to regain control. Nana, this is highly irregular, she said in perfect, practiced Korean. We don't even know this woman. She could be lying. She could be… Yejun cut her off without looking at her. Be silent. 2 words. Absolute. Sujin's mouth snapped shut, but her eyes burned with rage. The executives shifted uncomfortably. Power was realigning in real time, and they didn't know which way to lean. Imani looked at Nana, really looked at her, and saw Mrs. Kang in the shape of her nose, the set of her jaw. She lived in a studio apartment above a laundromat, Imani began, her voice steady now. She made soup every Sunday. Hamel tang, seafood soup, because she said the ocean was in her blood even if she couldn't dive anymore. Nana made a sound, half sob, half gasp. She told me stories about Jeju, Imani continued. About diving for abalone until her lungs burned. About the wind that never stopped. About a sister she left behind when she came to America in 1972. 53 years, Nana whispered in Jeju dialect. I waited 53 years for word from her. She talked about you, Imani said. She called you Ayani, big sister. She said you were the stubborn one. The one who refused to leave the island even when the sea turned cold. Nana's tears fell freely now. The executives stared, stunned into silence. They'd never seen the matriarch cry. Yejun watched Imani with an intensity that made her skin prickle, like he was cataloging every word, every breath. Why didn't she come back? Nana asked, voice raw. Why didn't she write? She was ashamed, Imani said quietly. She left to send money home. But life in America was harder than she thought. She worked 3 jobs just to survive. By the time she saved enough to visit, she heard you'd married into… Imani glanced at the room. The executives. The marble. The chandeliers. Into power, she finished carefully. Nana nodded slowly, understanding. She thought I would judge her, Nana said in Jeju dialect. For staying poor while I married into wealth? She thought you'd be disappointed, Imani corrected gently. That the little sister who left as a henyo came back as a laundromat tenant? Nana's hand tightened on Imani's shoulder. Foolish woman, Nana said, but her voice was tender. I would have given all of this. She gestured at the penthouse, the wealth, the power, for one more bowl of soup with my sister. The room felt smaller suddenly, intimate, like everyone else had disappeared. Imani's phone buzzed again in her pocket. Dispatch, 3rd call. She pulled it out by instinct, glancing at the screen. Then, without thinking, answered in Jeju dialect. Yeah, 있어요 yo? 지금 바빠요? Yes, I'm here. I'm busy right now. She hung up. The executive's eyes went wide. Even Yejun's expression shifted, something like fascination crossing his face. Sujin took a step back, realizing she'd just lost every advantage she'd spent months building. Because Imani hadn't just spoken Nana's language. She'd spoken it reflexively, naturally, like it was home. Nana's grip on Imani's shoulder became almost painful. 이언니가 니어를 가르쳤어요? Nana said, voice shaking. 나의 동생이 니어를 또 다른 탈로 만들었어요. My sister taught you. My sister made you another daughter. Imani's eyes burned. She saved me, Imani whispered, switching to English so her voice wouldn't break. When I was 11, my mom had just died. I was in the system. Mrs. Kang lived in the apartment next door to my foster family. She heard me crying through the walls. She paused, remembering. She brought me soup, And she spoke to me in Jeju Dialect because she said some pain is too big for English. Some pain needs the old language. Nana pulled Imani into an embrace. The old woman's arms were thin but strong. She smelled like jasmine and something older. Memory. Time. Gomawo, Nana whispered into Imani's hair. Thank you for loving my sister. Imani's tears came then. Not the polite kind, the ugly kind, the kind that had been waiting for permission. The executives looked away, uncomfortable with naked emotion. All except Yejun. He stared at Imani like she was a puzzle he couldn't solve, like she'd walked into his world and rewritten every rule he thought he knew. When Nana finally pulled back, she kept one hand on Imani's face. Why are you here? Nana asked, still in Jeju dialect. Why tonight? Imani swallowed hard. Mrs. Kang died 7 days ago, she said. The room went silent. Even the rain outside seemed to quiet. She had cancer, Imani continued, voice steady despite the tears. She didn't tell anyone, not even me. I only found out 2 months ago when she collapsed during her shift at the laundromat. Nana made a sound like she'd been struck. In her last days, she made me promise something, Imani said, looking at the envelope still in Yejun's hands. She said there was a package, a delivery, the most important one of her life. Imani met Nana's eyes. She said, take it to my sister. Take it to the Tiger of Seattle. Tell her the island never forgot her. Tell her I never stopped loving her. Nana covered her mouth with both hands. Her shoulders shook. Yejun's jaw tightened. His knuckles went white around the envelope. Sujin looked between them, panic rising. She'd built her position on being indispensable to Nana, on being the only one who could translate the old woman's desires. Now a FedEx girl in a soaked jacket had just shattered that monopoly. What's in the envelope? One of the executives dared to ask. Yejun didn't answer. He looked at Nana, waiting for permission. Nana nodded once. Yejun opened it fully. Inside, a jade seal. Small, ancient, carved with symbols that predated modern Korea. And beneath it, a photograph, yellowed with age, corners soft. 2 young women standing on a rocky shore, wind in their hair. Diving suits half peeled down, smiling like the world couldn't touch them. Sisters. Nana took the photo with shaking hands. Imani, she breathed. My sister. Yejun held up the jade seal. The room exploded in whispers, because everyone at that table knew what it was. The lost seal of the syndicate. The one that disappeared 50 years ago when the family split between Korea and America. The one that legitimized bloodline claims. The one that made succession law. Impossible, someone whispered. Sujin's face went white. That can't be. It's real, Yejun said quietly. His voice carried the weight of someone who'd spent his life studying family history. My grandfather told me stories about this seal. He said it was lost when his uncle fled to America during the war. He looked at Nana. You knew, he said. Not an accusation, a statement. Nana nodded slowly. My sister took it, Nana said in Korean now, standard, so everyone could understand. To protect it, to keep it safe until the family was ready to be whole again. She looked at the seal, and then at Imani. And she sent it back with the only person she trusted. The executive stared at Imani like she'd transformed from furniture into royalty. Sujin's breath came fast, shallow. She'd just been exposed as not only a liar, but as an outsider. Someone who didn't speak the language, didn't understand the culture, didn't carry the family's trust. Yejun set the seal down on the table. Then he did something that made the entire room freeze. He removed his suit jacket, expensive, tailored, still warm from his body, and walked to Imani. He draped it over her shoulders, covering the FedEx logo, claiming her. The jacket smelled like him. Cedar and rain and something darker she couldn't name. "You're done delivering packages," Yejun said softly, eyes locked on hers. Then he turned to Sujin. "Leave," he said. Just the one word. Sujin's mouth opened, closed. "Appa, now." She left. The executives watched her go, recalculating allegiances. Nana took Imani's hand and pulled her toward the empty chair beside Yejun. "Sit," Nana commanded. Not a request. Imani sat. The jacket pooled around her, too big, drowning her in his scent. Yejun sat beside her, close enough that she could feel the heat of him. Close enough that when he looked at her, she saw something dangerous behind his eyes. Recognition. And beneath it, possession. Outside, thunder cracked again. Inside, Nana lifted her glass. "The interpreter has arrived," she announced in Korean. "Now we eat." But under the table, Imani's hand drifted to her stomach, and Yejun's eyes followed the movement like a hawk tracking prey. If this ancestral connection is hitting you in the chest right now, hit subscribe. Imani just walked into a world that doesn't let people leave. And if you want to see what happens when that envelope reveals real power, not just history, you need to stay with me. Like, if you're already invested. Comment if you've ever carried someone's language like Imani carries Mrs. Kang's. Imani sat in the chair beside Yejun, drowning in his jacket that smelled like cedar and smoke. Her fingers gripped the cold marble armrests. The leather seat was soft beneath her. Around her, executives whispered behind raised glasses, recalculating power in real time. She didn't belong here. But Nana's hand rested on her shoulder. "Tell them," Nana said in Korean. "Tell them why my sister kept the seal for 50 years. Imani's throat went dry. She wasn't a translator. She delivered packages. But Nana squeezed her shoulder, expectant. Imani swallowed and spoke. "Mrs. Kang told me a story once," she began, "about two sisters who dove for abalone off Jeju Island. The ocean was their inheritance, not money, not land, just the sea in their lungs." The room quieted. When the war came, the family split. Some to Seoul, some to Busan. Two brothers came to America. Imani glanced at the seal. Mrs. Kang's husband brought this to protect it. In 1952, this seal meant legitimacy, bloodline, power. Yejun's eyes never left her face. "But he died 6 months after arriving," Imani continued. "Heart attack. Mrs. Kang was 23, pregnant, alone in a country that didn't want her." Nana's grip tightened. "She could have sold it," Imani said quietly. "The seal. It would have fed her for years. But she didn't." "Why?" an executive asked. "Because it belonged to the family. She believed one day the family would be whole again." Nana's tears fell silently. Yejun picked up the jade seal, turning it slowly in his tattooed hands. The carved symbols caught chandelier light, glowing almost. Heavy, ancient, dangerous. "This legitimizes succession," he said, voice low. "Without it, our Seattle claim is force alone. With it, we have law." Nana finished. "History. Right." An executive leaned forward. "How do we know it's authentic?" Nana stood slowly, her hanbok rustling like silk in memory. She walked to an ornate cabinet, its dark wood carved with tigers. She opened it and pulled out a leather-bound book. Old, worn, pages yellowed with decades. She flipped to a page and laid it on the table. A drawing, precise, detailed. The jade seal, Identical. My father commissioned this in 1945, Nana said. Before the seal disappeared. Every mark, every symbol. She placed the seal beside the drawing. Perfect match. The executives stared. The Tiger of Seattle, one whispered. The legend was real. Imani's stomach rolled, not nausea, fear. She was starting to understand. This wasn't a family dinner. This was succession, territory, empire. And she'd just handed them the key. Yejun set the seal down, then turned to Imani. Who else knows? He asked quietly. No one, Imani said. Mrs. Kang made me promise. I couldn't tell anyone until I put it in your hands. Not even your dispatch? I logged it as personal, off the clock. Yejun studied her. Why you? He finally asked. Why did she trust you? Imani's fingers twisted in her lap. Because I was the only one who spoke her language, she said softly. The only one who understood what the island meant. Nana took Imani's hand. My sister chose well. An executive cleared his throat. With respect, this changes everything. If word gets out, then our enemies will move. Yejun finished coldly. The Busan faction will challenge. The Yakuza will see opportunity. He looked at Imani. You just painted a target on yourself. Imani's breath caught. I was just... I know, Yejun said, softer now, almost gentle. But it doesn't matter. You're part of this now? He stood, then removed his jacket from her shoulders and handed it to an executive. For a moment, Imani thought he was taking back his claim. But then, he took off his white shirt. Beneath it, more tattoos, intricate, dark, covering his chest, his ribs, disappearing beneath his belt. Dragons and tigers wound through Korean script. The executives didn't react. But Imani stared, because she'd seen those tattoos before, in a dark car, months ago, when he'd saved her in a parking lot, when she'd made the decision now growing inside her. Yejun draped the shirt over her shoulders, still warm from his body, the fabric soft against her neck. Still carrying his scent. Cedar and rain and something darker she couldn't name, but recognized in her bones. This is protection, he said quietly. In our world, wearing someone's clothes is a claim. You understand? Imani nodded. Good, Yejun said. As of now, you're under my family's protection. No one touches you. No one threatens you. No one even looks at you wrong. He turned to the executives. Spread the word. The interpreter is untouchable. They nodded, phones already out. Nana smiled. Sit, she commanded. Now we eat properly. Servers appeared, placing dishes. Galbi, kimchi, japchae, hamultang. Imani stared at the seafood soup, just like Mrs. Kang used to make. Nana noticed, ladled some into Imani's bowl. Eat, child, she said in Jeju Dialect. The island takes care of its own. Imani lifted the spoon with shaking hands. The soup tasted like memory, like 15 years of Sundays in a cramped apartment, like Mrs. Kang's wrinkled hands pushing the bowl toward her, like home she'd never thought she'd taste again. Her eyes burned. Yejun sat beside her, shirtless, tattooed, terrifyingly beautiful. Under the table, his knee brushed hers. Once, a reminder, a promise, a warning. Outside, the rain intensified. Thunder cracked so close the windows shook, and somewhere in the city below, phones were ringing. Messages spreading like wildfire through encrypted channels. The Jade Seal had returned to Seattle. The Tiger had found an heir, and a black woman in a red FedEx jacket had just become the most dangerous person in the room. Not because of what she'd carried, but because of who was now claiming her, protecting her, willing to kill for her. The soup cooled in Imani's bowl. She couldn't eat. Not with Yejun sitting so close. Not with the memory of those tattoos crawling up her spine like they had 3 months ago. Nana watched her carefully. "You're not eating," Nana said in Jeju dialect. "Are you sick?" "No," Imani lied. "Just tired." But her hand drifted to her stomach. Yejun's eyes tracked the movement. His jaw tightened. Around them, executives talked business. Yejun turned to her. "Have we met before?" he asked quietly. Imani's breath caught. "I delivered your package tonight." "Before tonight?" It wasn't a question. "I don't think so," she said. "Liar." Yejun leaned closer. "I never forget a face," he said. "And I've seen yours before." Imani remembered, 3 months ago. Late October, rain like tonight. She'd been leaving a late delivery in South Seattle. Wrong neighborhood, wrong time. 2 men cornered her in the parking lot behind a warehouse. One grabbed her arm, squeezed hard enough to bruise. The other laughed. "Pretty girl, all alone." She'd reached for her phone, dropped it. The screen cracked on wet asphalt. Then, a car door opened in the dark. Black sedan, tinted windows, white shirt, tattoos, eyes like death. "Get in." Not a request. She'd run to the car, climbed in, the leather seat cold against her thighs. He didn't ask questions, just drove. Fast. Away from the men who knew better than to follow. When the adrenaline faded and the rain softened, he'd pulled into an empty parking garage, turned off the engine, looked at her with eyes that saw everything. "You're safe now." She should have left. Should have thanked him and called a cab. But something in his voice, in the way he looked at her like she wasn't invisible, like she mattered. She'd kissed him first. He'd gone still for one heartbeat, then kissed her back, hard, hungry, like he'd been waiting for permission. And then, she didn't let herself think about "and then," not while carrying proof of that night inside her. "I have a forgettable face," Imani said. Yejun's lips curved. "No," he said. "You don't." Under the table, his hand moved, slow, deliberate, rested on her knee, warm, heavy, claiming. Imani froze. Her breath caught. His thumb brushed the inside of her thigh through damp fabric. Just once, a reminder that he remembered everything. "October," Yejun said quietly. "South Seattle, parking lot behind the warehouse." Imani's throat went dry. "2 men who don't work for me anymore," he continued. "A woman in a red jacket who should have been afraid, but wasn't." He leaned closer. "A back seat, rain on the windows, your hands on my chest." "I don't know what you're talking about," she whispered. "Yes," Yejun said. "You do." His hand tightened possessively. "I've been looking for you for 3 months," he said quietly. A memory of a woman who tasted like rain. Imani's eyes burned. Across the table, Nana smiled. "Why didn't you leave a number?" Imani asked quietly. "Because I thought you'd run from a man like me. I did run." "And yet," Yejun said, voice dark, "you walked right back into my world." He looked at her face. "Tell me that's not fate." Then her stomach rolled, hard, nausea so strong she couldn't hide it. Her hand flew to her mouth. Yejun's expression shifted, from possessive to concerned. "You're sick." "I'm fine," Imani said, but she wasn't. The room tilted. Nana stood. "Take her to the bathroom," Nana commanded. Yejun didn't argue. He gripped Imani's elbow and pulled her up. She swayed. He caught her, one arm around her waist. "I've got you," he said quietly. He led her through a side door, down a hallway. The bathroom was marble and gold. Imani barely made it to the sink. She gripped the counter, breathed through it. Yejun stood behind her, watching her in the mirror. How long? He asked. Imani met his eyes in the reflection. I don't know what. How long have you been pregnant? The words hung like a bomb. Imani's hands shook. I'm not. Don't lie to me. His voice was steel. I've seen the signs. The nausea. The way you won't drink. The way your hand keeps going to your stomach. Imani turned to face him. He towered over her. Shirtless, tattooed, dangerous. But his eyes weren't angry. They were terrified. Is it mine? He asked quietly. Imani's tears came. Hot, ugly. I don't even know your full name, she whispered. Kang Yejun, he said. 29, born in Busan. And 3 months ago, I spent one night with a woman whose name I didn't know, and I haven't stopped thinking about her since. Imani's back hit the counter. So I'll ask again, Yejun said. Is it mine? She nodded. His expression broke. Relief, fear, possession. How far along? 10 weeks, Imani whispered. I found out 2 weeks ago. Yejun's hand came up, hovered over her stomach. Imani took his hand and placed it on her abdomen. Still flat, but he stared like he was looking at a miracle. Does anyone else know? He asked. No. Good. His hand spread wider. Because if my enemies find out, if the Busan faction learns I have an heir... Heir? Imani's voice cracked. It's a baby. In my world, Yejun said quietly, they're the same thing. He pulled her closer, one hand on her stomach, the other cupping her face. You're not leaving, he said. You understand? You're not going back to your apartment, not going anywhere I can't protect you. You can't just... I can, Yejun said. And I will, because that... He pressed his palm harder. Is mine. You are mine. Outside, footsteps approached. Yejun pulled back. But it was just Nana. She looked between them, reading the truth. She's carrying the heir, Nana said in Jeju Dialect. Yejun nodded. Nana's face transformed. Joy. Tears. She crossed to Imani and took both her hands. The island sent you, Nana said. My sister sent you, not just with the seal, but with the future. Imani shook her head. I didn't plan this. Destiny doesn't ask permission, Nana said firmly. You're blessed. This baby is blessed. She turned to Yejun. Protect them both. I will, Yejun said, cold, certain, lethal. Nana walked out. Yejun stared at Imani. What's your full name? He asked. Imani Brooks, 26, born in Portland, raised in foster care, and 3 months ago I made the worst decision of my life. Best decision, Yejun corrected. I'm scared, Imani whispered. Good, Yejun said. Fear keeps you careful, and careful keeps you alive. He pulled her into his chest, wrapped both arms around her. She felt his heartbeat, steady. I've got you, he said. Both of you. And for the first time since she saw those 2 lines, Imani let herself believe it. Destiny doesn't ask permission. Imani is carrying the heir to a criminal empire. If you need to know what happens when enemies find out, when the Busan faction learns about this baby, subscribe now. Comment your prediction. Will she survive? They returned to the dining room together. Yejun's hand never left the small of Imani's back. Possessive. A claim everyone could see. The executives looked up, saw the shift. Something had changed. Nana smiled. Sit, she commanded. Imani sat. Yejun sat beside her, was closer than before, his thigh pressed against hers. She could feel the heat of him. An executive cleared his throat. Boss, the Busan shipment. Later, Yejun said, without looking away from Imani. The man fell silent. Yejun picked up his chopsticks, selected galbi from the platter, placed it in Imani's bowl. Eat, he said quietly, not a request. Imani took a bite. The meat tasted like nothing. Her stomach was too tight with fear. Yejun watched every movement. You need protein, he said, for the baby. The table went silent. Nana's smile widened. One man, older, silver-haired, leaned forward slowly. Boss, he said carefully. Did you just say, you heard me? Yejun said. The interpreter is carrying my child, my heir. Anyone who has a problem with that can leave? No one moved. Choi, I want security doubled. No one in or out without clearance. Background check on everyone who's been in this penthouse in the last month. Choi nodded, phone already out. Junho, safe house, secure location, off the grid, full medical supplies, ready within the hour. Yes, boss. Minyaj contact Busan. I want to know about any unusual communication between our enemies and anyone in Seattle. On it. Imani watched him transform from the man who'd held her to the boss who controlled an empire. Terrifying. Mesmerizing. Nana patted Imani's hand. You see? She said in Jeju Dialect. He will protect you. But Imani's hands still shook. Yejun's phone buzzed. His expression darkened. Choi, he said quietly. We have a problem. What kind? Someone just posted on the underground network. About the Jade Seal. About the heir. The room went cold. How? Choi demanded. Someone at this table took a photo, sent it to our enemies. Every executive's face went pale. Boss, I swear, it wasn't me. Yejun raised one hand. Silence. Show me your phones, all of you, now. They obeyed, placed them on the table. Yejun walked around slowly, picked up each phone, checked messages and call logs. He stopped at one phone, looked at the man who owned it. Young, early 30s, expensive watch, sweat on his upper lip, nervous eyes that couldn't meet Yejun's. Daejung, Yejun said softly. Voice like velvet over razors. The man went white. Boss, I can explain. Yejun's fist connected with Daejung's jaw before anyone could blink. The crack echoed through the room like a gunshot. The man went down, hard. Blood on marble floor, spreading like spilled wine. Imani flinched. Nana didn't. She just sipped her tea. Yejun crouched beside Daejung, grabbed his collar, pulled him up to eye level. Blood dripped from the man's nose onto Yejun's bare forearm. Who paid you? Yejun asked quietly. Calm, like he had all the time in the world. No one, I swear, I didn't. Yejun hit him again, harder. The sound made Imani's stomach turn. Blood sprayed. Daejung choked on it. Who? Paid? You. Each word punctuated by silence, by threat. The Busan faction, Daejung gasped. They offered 2 million won. I'm sorry. I needed the money. My mother's medical bills, please. You needed the money, Yejun repeated slowly. He looked at Choi. Get him out. Take him to the warehouse. I'll deal with him later. 2 men dragged Daejung toward the elevator. He was crying, begging. The elevator doors closed. Yejun sat down, picked up his chopsticks like nothing happened, but Imani saw his knuckles, bloody. How long do we have? Nana asked calmly. Hours, maybe less. They know about the seal, the baby, they'll move fast. He looked at Imani. We're leaving. What? Now? Now. Choi, have the car brought around. Junho, 4 men on security, and someone needs to clear out Imani's apartment. My apartment? Imani said. Why? That's the first place they'll look. We need to make it look like you were never there. Imani's heart hammered. This is insane. I can't just disappear. I have a job. Bills. You have a target on your back, Yejun said. You and our baby, and I'm not losing either of you over a minimum wage job. That's not fair. Fair? Yejun laughed, dark. Nothing about this is fair, but it's real. Accept it. He stood, pulled her up. We're going to a safe house. You'll stay until I eliminate the threat. Could be days, weeks. Weeks? You can't lock me away. I can, and I will, because the alternative is watching you die. His hands cupped her face. You're mine, he said quietly. That baby is mine, and I don't lose what's mine. Ever. Nana stood. Go, she said in Jeju dialect. Keep the island's daughter safe. Yejun grabbed his jacket, draped it over Imani, on top of his shirt. Double claim. Move. The executives scattered, phones out, coordinating. Imani was pulled toward the elevator. Yejun's grip unbreakable. The doors closed. Alone. Imani's back hit the elevator wall with a soft thud. Yejun caged her in, one hand on either side of her head, close enough that she could see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes. Could smell blood on his knuckles. I'm sorry, he said, and he actually sounded like he meant it. I'm sorry this is your life now. I'm sorry I can't give you normal, but I can give you safe, and I can give you everything else. Money, protection, a life your child will never have to fear. I don't want everything, Imani whispered. I just want to choose. You chose, Yejun said. 3 months ago, in that garage, when you kissed me instead of running. I didn't know. Yes, you did. You saw my tattoos, felt the violence, you knew what I was, and you chose me anyway. His hand dropped to her stomach. And now we live with that choice. The elevator descended, 50 floors, falling. I need you to trust me, he said quietly. Just for a little while. Can you do that? Imani didn't answer. The doors opened. Underground garage, concrete, shadows, black SUV waiting. 4 armed men stood around it. Yejun pulled Imani forward, opened the door, helped her inside. Leather seats, tinted windows. Yejun slid in beside her, slammed the door. The driver pulled out, fast. Imani looked back through the rear window, saw her old life vanish. Yejun's hand found hers in the darkness. I've got you, he said, but this time it felt like a prison sentence. They drove in silence, out of downtown, through neighborhoods that got darker, quieter. Imani's phone buzzed in her pocket, insistent. She pulled it out. Dispatch. 3 missed calls, 7 texts demanding she return the truck, threatening termination. She stared at the screen, at the life that still thought she existed. Yejun plucked the phone from her hands, gentle but firm. Hey. He rolled down the window. Cold air rushed in, threw it out into the darkness. What are you doing? Imani shouted. Keeping you alive. Phones can be tracked. That was my phone. I'll buy you 10, encrypted, secure, but that one was a liability. Imani felt tears burn. Everything was being taken. Yejun saw the tears, softened. I know this is hard, but it's temporary. How temporary? Until I kill everyone who wants you dead. Casual, like discussing weather. Imani turned away, stared out the window. The city blurred past. She put her hand on her stomach, felt nothing yet, just the knowledge that something was growing, something that made her a target. The SUV turned onto a gravel road, trees closed in. 20 minutes later, they stopped. A house appeared in the headlights. Modern. All glass and steel and sharp angles, isolated in the trees like a secret. Beautiful in that cold, architectural way, and terrifying in its perfection. The driver opened Imani's door. She stepped out onto gravel, cold air, pine and loneliness. Just silence. Yejun took her hand. Come on. He led her to the door, unlocked it with a keypad. Inside, sleek furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows showing darkness and endless trees. A sterile, unused kitchen, and bars on every single window. Steel, painted black to blend in, but bars nonetheless. Imani saw them, felt her stomach drop like an elevator with cut cables. "This is a cage," she whispered. "This is safety," Jeju corrected. His voice was firm, final. "There's a difference." He opened the fridge, fully stocked. "Food, water, medical supplies upstairs, bedroom too." He turned to her. "I have to go back, handle the situation, but I'm leaving 2 men outside." You're safe here." "I'm alone here," Imani said. "For now, but I'll come back. Every night, I promise." He pulled her into his chest. She didn't fight it. "This will be over soon," he said, "and then we'll figure out what normal looks like." "What if there is no normal?" Imani whispered. "Then we make one," Jeju said. He pulled back slightly, kissed her forehead, soft, reverent, then her lips, brief but claiming. A promise or a goodbye, she couldn't tell which. "Lock the door behind me," he said. "Keypad code is your birthday. I'll be back before dawn." And then he was gone. The door closed with a soft click that sounded like a cell door locking. Imani stood in the middle of the beautiful, cold, empty house, and finally let herself cry. The first night was the longest. Imani sat on the leather couch, staring at windows that showed only darkness and her own reflection staring back. Ghost-like, trapped. Somewhere outside, 2 armed men stood guard in the cold, protecting her, or keeping her in. She couldn't tell the difference anymore. Her hand rested on her stomach, still flat, still just knowledge, not proof. No visible sign of the life growing inside her that had turned her world into a cage. Around midnight, headlights cut through the darkness like searchlights. Imani stood, heart hammering against her ribs. The door opened. Jeju stepped inside, still shirtless under his jacket. Blood on his knuckles. Dried now, dark brown, cracked at the edges like old paint. "You came back," Imani said. She'd half expected him to forget her. "I promised." He locked the door with 3 separate bolts. "Are you hungry?" "No." "You should eat anyway, for the baby." Everything was for the baby now, like Imani wasn't a person anymore. Just a vessel, an incubator with legs. She'd gone from invisible courier to precious cargo in 24 hours. Jeju went to the kitchen, pulled out containers. "Nana had these sent over?" he said. "Seaweed soup, all the things pregnant women in our culture eat." "I'm not Korean," Imani said quietly. Jeju looked at her. "No, but our baby is half Korean, and in my world, that matters." He heated the soup, brought it to her. "Eat." Not a request. Imani took the bowl. The soup smelled like Mrs. Kang's kitchen. She took a bite. Jeju sat beside her. Close. "How was it?" Imani asked. "Handling the threat?" "Messy, but necessary." "Did you kill him? Daejung?" Jeju stared at his hands, at the dried blood still lodged under his fingernails. "Yes." The word hung in the air, heavy, final. Imani's spoon froze halfway to her mouth. "He betrayed my family, put you in danger, put our child in danger. There was no other option. He had a mother with medical bills." "He made a choice," Jeju said. "We all do, and we live with consequences." Imani set the bowl down. "I didn't choose this," she whispered. "Yes, you did. You chose me. You saw what I was, and you kissed me anyway." "I didn't know you were a killer." "Yes, you did." His voice was soft. "You saw my tattoos, felt the violence. You knew." Imani walked to the window, stared at her reflection behind bars. How long do I have to stay here? Until it's safe. And when is that? When I eliminate everyone who wants you dead. How many people is that? The entire Busan faction. Maybe 20 men. 20 men? Imani repeated. You're going to kill 20 men? If that's what it takes. Casual, like discussing groceries. I can't live like this, Imani said. You'll adapt. Everyone does. Yejun crossed to her, cupped her face in bloody hands. His touch was gentle despite the violence staining his skin. You already chose, and now I'm keeping you alive, whether you like it or not. He kissed her. Hard, possessive, claiming. She tasted blood on his lips, metallic, wrong. When he pulled back, his eyes were dark with something between desire and desperation. Go to bed. I'll stay tonight. He led her upstairs. King-size bed. White sheets. Barred windows. Sleep. I'll be downstairs, keeping watch. And then he was gone. Imani lay staring at the ceiling. This was her life now. She put her hand on her stomach. I'm sorry, she whispered to the baby. I'm sorry I brought you into this. The second day was worse. Yejun left at dawn, kissed her forehead like she was something precious, something breakable. Imani was alone again. She tried to read, couldn't focus. Tried to watch TV. Every channel felt like a world she no longer belonged to. She walked the perimeter like a prisoner, counted the bars. 14 windows, all barred. At noon, nausea hit. She barely made it to the bathroom. When it passed, she stared at herself in the mirror, pale, tired, trapped. That afternoon, a doctor arrived. Middle-aged woman, kind eyes, medical bag that looked expensive. I'm Dr. Han, she said in accented English. Mr. Kang sent me to check on you and the baby. Imani let her in. What choice did she have? Dr. Han was thorough. Blood pressure, blood test, urine sample, questions. All the clinical measurements of a life Imani barely recognized as her own. You're healthy, Dr. Han said, packing her equipment. The baby is developing normally, about 10 weeks along. Everything looks perfect. After Dr. Han left, Imani felt emptier. Even the doctor thought this was normal. This cage, this control. That evening, Yejun returned, with Nana. The old woman walked in like she owned the place. Blue hanbok rustling. Agi, she said in Jeju dialect. Island child, let me look at you. She cupped Imani's face. You're pale, not eating enough. I'm eating, Imani said. Not enough. She turned to Yejun. She needs sunlight, or fresh air. This house is a tomb. It's safe, Yejun said. It's killing her spirit. Look at her eyes. No light. Yejun looked at Imani, really looked. Guilt crossed his face. I'll install a secure outdoor area, tomorrow. Good. Nana sat, patted the seat beside her. Sit, child. Imani sat. Nana took her hand, held it tight. I know this is hard, she said in Jeju dialect. But you must understand. This baby, your baby, is sacred. It carries the blood of the island and the blood of the tiger. It will unite two worlds that have been broken for too long. I don't want to unite worlds, Imani whispered. I just want normal. I want to go to work, pay my bills, choose my own life. Normal is a lie, Nana said firmly. Normal is what weak people tell themselves to feel safe. But you were never meant for normal. My sister saw it. I see it. She placed her hand on Imani's stomach. This child will be powerful, protected, loved, and you will be honored. What if I don't want to be honored? Then you'll learn, because the alternative is death. Imani's throat tightened. Why me? Why did Mrs. Kang choose me? Nana smiled, sad. Because she saw what I see. Strength you don't know you have. A spirit that bends but doesn't break. You survived foster care, poverty, invisibility. She squeezed Imani's hand. You'll survive this too. Nana stayed for dinner, cooked in the sterile kitchen. They ate together. Imani, Yejun, and Nana. Like a family. It almost felt normal, until Nana stood to leave. I'll come back next week, and when the baby comes, I'll be here. After she left, Yejun turned to Imani. She's right. You're stronger than you think. Am I? Or am I just too tired to fight? Yejun pulled her close. You can fight me all you want, but I'm not letting you go. That night, Imani couldn't sleep. She lay in bed, listening to Yejun downstairs. Around 2 a.m., his phone rang. His voice, low, urgent. Then footsteps, fast. He appeared in the doorway. Get dressed, now. What's wrong? They found us. Imani's blood went cold. She threw on clothes, shoes. Yejun grabbed her hand, pulled her downstairs. But before they reached the door, glass shattered, explosive. The front window exploded inward in a spray of razor shards. Yejun shoved Imani behind him with one arm, pulled a gun from his waistband with the other. Smooth, practiced. Stay down, he shouted. Gunshots, loud, deafening. The sound punched through Imani's ears. She hit the floor, covered her head with both arms. More glass breaking, men shouting in Korean, return fire echoing like thunder. Yejun moved like he'd done this 1,000 times. Calm, precise, lethal. 3 shots, 3 bodies dropped outside in the darkness. Then, silence, thick, ringing. Yejun turned. Are you hurt? Imani shook her head. Couldn't speak. He pulled out his phone. Choi, safe house compromised. I need backup in a new location, now. He looked at Imani. We're leaving. Where? Somewhere they'll never find us. But as Yejun pulled her toward the back door, he stopped, looked at the couch, at the floor. Blood, a small pool, dark red, growing. Imani? He said quietly. Are you hurt? She looked down, blood running down her leg. No, she whispered. No, no, no. The baby. Yejun caught her as her knees gave out. Stay with me. Choi, I need a medical team. Now! But Imani's vision was blurring. The last thing she heard was Yejun's voice. Desperate, terrified, human, and then... Nothing. She's bleeding. The baby might not survive, and Imani just disappeared into darkness. If you need to know what happens next, if this baby lives or dies, subscribe now. Like if your heart is in your throat. Comment. Will she lose the baby? White light. Harsh, beeping, rhythmic, antiseptic smell. Imani opened her eyes slowly. Hospital room. Private. Expensive. Her hand went to her stomach. Protective. Terrified. Don't move. Yejun's voice. Rough. He was in a chair beside the bed, still shirtless under his jacket. Blood on his hands, dried now, cracked. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. The baby, Imani whispered. Her voice cracked. Yejun's jaw tightened. His eyes were bloodshot, ringed with exhaustion. Still there. Heartbeat strong. You're 11 weeks now. Everything looks good. Relief flooded through her so fast her vision blurred. What happened? Stress-induced bleeding. Not uncommon, they said. But you lost a lot of blood. They did a transfusion. He took her hand. His fingers trembled slightly. You need complete bed rest. No stress, no movement. He stopped, swallowed hard. You almost died. Your heart stopped in the ambulance for 37 seconds. I counted every one. His voice cracked. Imani had never heard him sound vulnerable. I'm okay, she whispered. You're not okay. I put you in danger. I almost killed our child. You saved me. I shouldn't have had to. This is my fault. The door opened. Nana walked in, followed by Dr. Han and Choi. Nana went straight to Imani, touched her face. Agi, she said in Jeju Dialect. You scared us. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. You're still here. The baby is still here. She turned to Yejun. Tell her. Yejun hesitated. Tell her what? Imani asked. Yejun walked to the window. I eliminated the Busan faction. All of them. 23 men. 48 hours. No sleep. Just blood and bullets. Imani's breath caught. You killed 23 people? I killed everyone who wanted you dead. Burned their warehouses, seized their accounts, sent their lieutenants running back to Korea. He turned. His eyes were hollow. Seattle is mine now, completely. No rivals, no threats. For how long? Yejun's lips curved. Until someone else is stupid enough to challenge me. Nana placed her hand on Imani's stomach. The baby is safe now. The island protects its own. Choi stepped forward. Miss Brooks, Mr. Kang has asked me to present you with options. Options? You can leave. We'll provide a new identity, money, a house anywhere. You'll never see Mr. Kang again. Imani stared at Yejun. He wasn't looking at her. Or you can stay. Become part of the family. Marry Mr. Kang. Raise the child as the heir. You're giving me a choice? Imani asked. I'm giving you what I should have given you from the start. Yejun said quietly. Freedom. Imani looked down at her hands, at the IV taped to her arm, at the hospital bracelet with her name. Imani Brooks. For so long, she'd been invisible. A courier, a number on a dispatch board. Then one night, one delivery, one language, and suddenly she was priceless. Worth killing for. But was any of it real? Can I ask you something? Imani said. Her voice was small. Yejun nodded. Do you love me? Or do you just love what I'm carrying? The room went silent. Yejun sat on the edge of the bed, close. I don't know, he said. The honesty hurt. I met you 3 months ago for one night. Then you disappeared. I spent weeks looking for you. Hired people, checked cameras, drove past that parking lot 50 times. He took her hand, held it carefully. Not because of a baby I didn't know existed, but because I couldn't stop thinking about you. About the way you kissed me. About the way you looked at me like I was something other than a killer. His thumb brushed her knuckles. When you walked into that penthouse wearing that red jacket, I didn't recognize you at first. But the moment you spoke, the moment you defended my grandmother in a language no one else understood, I knew. You were the woman who kissed me in that parking garage like you had nothing to lose. Do I love you? Maybe not yet, but I want the chance to find out. What if I leave? She asked. Then I'll respect that. I'll send money. Be a father from a distance. Whatever you need. You wouldn't fight me? I've done enough fighting. I'm tired of cages. Nana squeezed Imani's hand. Whatever you choose, you are family. Imani closed her eyes. She thought about her old life, her invisibility. She thought about Mrs. Kang, about soup on Sundays. She thought about the baby, about what kind of life she wanted. Safe? Or free? Could she have both? She opened her eyes. I want modifications, Imani said. Her voice was stronger. Yejun's eyes sharpened. What kind? No more cages, no more bars on windows, no more guards standing over me like I'm a prisoner. You need protection. Then teach me to protect myself, Imani interrupted. Give me training, combat, weapons, self-defense. Give me agency instead of guards. Give me power instead of protection. Yejun studied her, really looked. Done, he said. What else? I want to finish my degree, law school, online if I have to, but I'm not giving up on my education. Done. I'll pay for everything, best programs. And I want Nana to teach me everything, Imani said. About the island, about the family, about this world I'm entering. I don't want to just survive. I want to understand. Nana smiled. It would be my honor. And one more thing. Name it. I want time. Time to figure out if this is love or survival. Time before marriage. Time to know you without a gun in your hand. Yejun was quiet. Then he nodded. You'll have it, all the time you need. Then I'll stay. Relief flooded his face. He kissed her forehead. Thank you. 3 months later, Imani stood at floor-to-ceiling windows. No bars. The penthouse was hers now. Redecorated. Home. Her laptop sat open. Law school applications. Her hand rested on her stomach. 14 weeks. Starting to show. The door opened. Yejun walked in, phone to his ear. Business. But when he saw her, he ended the call. How are you feeling? Good. The nausea's finally gone. He placed his hand over hers on her stomach. Still feels surreal. I know. They stood quietly. Nana wants to throw you a baby shower, traditional Korean. I want both, Korean and American, like the baby will be. Yejun smiled. She'll love that. His phone buzzed. He frowned. I have to go. Meeting. Be safe. He kissed her, soft, brief. Always. After he left, Imani turned back to the window. She could see the entire city. Somewhere down there, her old life had been erased. She was different now. Not invisible, not just a courier. She was the mother of the air, the interpreter, the woman who spoke the language of two worlds. Her phone buzzed. Nana. Come to dinner tonight. I'm making hemultang. Imani smiled. Typed back. I'll be there, Halmeoni. She looked at her reflection. Brown skin, braids, still her, but stronger. Outside, the city glowed. A million lights. Inside, her baby kicked for the first time. Just a flutter. So small, she almost missed it. Like a butterfly testing its wings. She gasped, put both hands on her stomach. Hey! She whispered to the tiny life inside her. Hey, little one, I'm your mom, and I promise you something. You'll never be invisible. You'll never be ignored. You'll never be just anything. You'll be everything you want to be. Free and powerful and loved. The door opened again. Yejun stood in the doorway. Forgot my... He stopped, saw her face. Are you crying? The baby kicked, Imani said, tears streaming. Yejun crossed the room in 3 strides. Can I feel? His voice was soft, hopeful. Imani took his hand, placed it on her stomach exactly where she'd felt the movement. They waited, barely breathing. And then, there. A tiny flutter against his palm. Proof of life, proof of everything. Yejun's face transformed. Wonder, awe, fear, love. That's our baby, he whispered. That's our baby. He pulled her close. I know I haven't said it yet, but I'm getting there, to the words. I know, me too. Because love wasn't always instant. Sometimes it grew slow, like a baby, like trust. Thank you for staying, for giving me a chance. Thank you for giving me a choice. Outside, rain began to fall, just like the night they met. But this time, she didn't see a storm. She saw a beginning. Epilogue. 6 months later. The nursery was painted soft gray, peaceful. A crib sat in the corner. White, simple, safe, absolutely perfect. Imani held her daughter in her arms, 5 days old, 10 fingers, 10 toes. Perfect in every way. She has your eyes, Yejun said beside her. She has your stubbornness, Imani countered. He laughed. Real, warm. Nana stood in the doorway. What will you name her? Imani looked at Yejun. Hana. It means one in Korean. Flower in Hawaiian. Unity in Swahili. Perfect, Nana said. A name for all her worlds. She looked at the baby. She'll be powerful. She'll be loved, Imani corrected. That's all that matters. Nana smiled. Yes, that is all that matters. Later that night, Imani sat in the rocking chair with Hana sleeping peacefully on her chest. Yejun sat on the floor beside them, head resting against her knee. Do you regret it? He asked quietly. Staying? Choosing this life? Imani thought about it, honestly. Ask me again in 10 years, she said with a soft smile. He laughed quietly, careful not to wake the baby. But right now I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Yejun took her hand. I love you, he said. The first time. Imani's breath caught. I love you too. And she meant it. Outside, Seattle glowed brightly. Inside, the family slept, and somewhere Mrs. Kang smiled. Because her plan had worked. The island and the tiger. United at last, she walked in invisible. She left unforgettable. The FedEx girl became the mother of an empire. And the man who didn't believe in love, he learned. This is their beginning.